When I was pregnant with my children, I went down for routine blood and urine sample tests, and it was discovered that I had protein in my urine. And when it was checked for an infection, there was no infection, and it was unexplained. This was in Italy. I then came back to the UK. I was living in Italy at the time. When I returned to the UK, I was put under close supervision while I was pregnant, under a renal team at Manchester Royal Infirmary. And once I had the children, I had a kidney biopsy and I was diagnosed with IgA nephropathy. My life, I've spent since I was 23, I'm now 52, overseas. And I've had many international doctors monitor my IgA and keep an eye on it for me. 6 years ago, I was living in Doha, and my kidney function began to drop quite rapidly. I wasn't getting the appropriate care over there, so I returned back to the UK, where it continued to fall quite rapidly. I then went on to the NephroGAN trial. How it's changed my life, and now I've returned to England permanently now. So I've had to change my job. I don't work in international education now. I'm probably semi-retired really with my work, and I have a much quieter life. Very little impact on my family and friends, because the nature of the disease really is that you don't really look any different. I always managed it very privately. Main symptom was fatigue. I would go and have a rest in the afternoon when people weren't around. So nobody really realised how serious the condition was, really until the last few years, when I was at end-stage renal failure. I'd tell people to get informed, come to these patient days, find out what the latest research is, if you have access to clinical trials, use the clinical trials, because they will help you in the future to manage your condition. Question all the time. Get support when you need it. I had support with renal counselling, particularly in the last few years before I was in renal failure. And be part of forums, Facebook forums for IgA, and try and meet other people. I spent a long time not knowing anybody with this disease. In fact, I spent 12 years never meeting an IgA patient. The first one I met was in Doha, and it was a Filipino man in a clinic. There were only two of us in the clinic in Doha before I came back to the UK and met people here in Leicester. I found out about my condition and information on the internet, and I really didn't know that much about it for a long time. I just knew about the medications and controlling blood pressure and salt. It was only 6 years ago when I came to Leicester, and I listened to Professor Barrett and his team talk about IgA, that I really became informed and knew exactly what the disease was about, and the research into treating it, and particularly the new research. And 5 years on, I'm so hopeful for everybody. It was a little bit late for me because I've now had a kidney transplant, but there is hope for me that, if the disease does manifest itself in the new kidney, there are some options to prolong its life, which before that it was just, you've got a 25% chance of going into renal failure. And I was one of those people that fell into that category.